How great is your God! God will provide for his sheep. What would have happened had Moses tried to figure out what was needed to accomplish God's command to leave Egypt? One of the biggest arithmetical miracles in the world was required in the desert. Moses led the people of Israel into the desert. Now, what was he going to do with them? They had to be fed, and feeding 3.5 million people required a lot of food. According to the U.S. Army Quartermaster General, Moses needed 1,500 tons of food every day, filling 2 freight trains, each a mile long. Besides, you must remember, they were cooking the food just for cooking. This took 4,000 tons of firewood and a few more freight trains, each a mile long. And this is only for one day, not to mention for keeping warm. And if anyone tells you it doesn't get cold in the desert, don't believe them. They were there for 40 years. Let's not forget about water. If they only had enough to drink and wash a few dishes, no bathing, it took 11 million gallons each day, enough to fill a train of tanker cars 1,800 miles long. And another thing, they had to get across the Red Sea in one night. Now, if they went through a narrow path, double file, the line would be 800 miles long and require 35 days and nights to complete the crossing. So to cross in one night, there had to be a space in the Red Sea 3 miles wide so that they could walk 5,000 abreast. Think about this. Every time they camped at the end of the day, a campground the size of Rhode Island was required, or 750 square miles. Do you think that Moses sat down and figured out the logistics of what God told him to do before he set out from Egypt? I doubt it. But he had faith and trust that God would take care of everything. Let us have his courage, his faith, and trust, because we share the very same God. A shepherd cares for his sheep, a policeman for his city, a father for his family, and God cares for you. Moses trusted God to provide for his people. His people didn't. Exodus chapter 16, verse 2. And the whole congregation of the people of Israel murmured against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness, and said to them, Would that we had died by the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt, where we sat by our flesh pots, and ate bread to the full. For you have brought us out into this wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger. Ernest Hemingway said, the best way to find out if you can trust someone is to trust them. Do you trust the Good Shepherd to do the best for you even when you don't immediately see the benefits? If God was able to care for an ungrateful people in the desert, certainly he can care for you. Luke chapter 12, verse 6 and following. Are not 5 sparrows sold for 2 pennies? And not one of them is forgotten before God. Why, even the hairs on your head are all numbered. Fear not, you are of more value than many sparrows. Trust in the Lord. He is always faithful. Psalm 125, a song of ascents. Those trusting in the Lord are like Mount Zion, unshakable, forever enduring. As mountains surround Jerusalem, the Lord surrounds his people, both now and forever.